My name is Maritza, and I was born in Havana, Cuba. I came to this country when I was very young. I came with my family. We took a flight called Freedom Flights to come to this country. There's not much I remember about my life in Cuba, but I do remember that flight. I remember we were very quiet on that flight, everyone. My mom and my dad kept telling me to be quiet, to stop squirming. It just seemed like no one was speaking on that flight. Later I would learn from my mom that everyone was afraid that the plane would be turned around and returned to Cuba. At some point in the flight, the pilot came on the speaker and said, "We have now entered American airspace. You are in the land of the free." And the whole airplane erupted into shouts of joy. And when that plane landed, I remember seeing people drop to the ground and kiss the ground when they arrived here in the United States. I've never forgotten that, even though I was very young. I was not prepared for the challenges that I would have to face as a Cuban American. At home, my parents kept our culture very much alive for us. But when I went to school, I wanted to be very much an American child. I remember starting school in this country and I didn't know a word of English. They didn't have ESL or any kind of classes like that back then. It was sink or swim. So I remember starting school, not understanding anything that anyone was saying to me. I would kind of look around and see what the other kids were doing, and I would just do what they did. I figured that was the right thing to do. And whenever I had to speak to my teacher about something, I would ask my dad to please come in and speak for me. My dad knew about as much English as I did, but I would hide behind him and I would ask him to speak. And in his broken English, he would speak for me. I remember our first Thanksgiving. In school, all the children would talk about what they would be eating for Thanksgiving. They would have turkey and cranberry sauce and stuffing. None of these foods were foods that were traditionally Cuban. And I wanted so much to fit in, and I wanted to come back after Thanksgiving and tell all the kids in school and my teacher that I ate the same thing as everybody else. So I remember going home and telling my mom, we have to have a Thanksgiving meal, Mom. And she'd say, well, tell me what I need to make. And I'd say, well, you have to cook a turkey, and you have to buy this thing called cranberry sauce. And she had no idea what cranberry sauce looked like. And so I'd go with her to the supermarket and try to find what I thought was cranberry sauce. And we tried very hard to have a very traditional Thanksgiving dinner. And as the years passed by, my mom would kind of tweak that Thanksgiving dinner a little bit so that it seemed to have more Cuban spices, and it just had a little bit of a Cuban flair to it. There would be kind of foods mixed in there that were traditionally Cuban, and the turkey would be marinated Cuban style, and it was a Cuban turkey. We started calling it the Cuban turkey. And after a while, our Thanksgiving dinners were Cuban Thanksgiving. And I realized that I could be Cuban and American, because I was able to kind of meld both cultures together. And it was nice. It was really nice. I'm grateful to my family that they have instilled in me a love for Cuba and for my culture. And I am grateful to this country because I've been able to grow up here and learn so many wonderful things and live in freedom. And I'm really glad that I've been able to be very much a Cuban American.